right, welcome everybody. I'm Katie, and I am a certified health coach and occupational therapist. I'm excited to join you all today. Allie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm Allie. My business is Technically Eclectic and I am a digital organizer.
Excellent. So, sisterhood is the survival guide to life. Children, spouses, jobs, even dreams will come and go, and yes, some friends too. But if we had to live a certain chapter without that one friend or support system, what would have happened to us? In this summit, we are going to amplify the power of community and smash the paradigm of the lone wolf. Behind each everyday woman is another one, cheering her on, calling her out, and making sure she stays connected to her vision and mission. We remind each other of who we are becoming, especially when we can't see it for ourselves. Today, we're going to talk with Allie and myself about the role of community in our journeys, the everyday people who make a difference in our lives, and how we both receive and give support. Because the truth is, it gets just better. It's just better together.
Yes.
So, Allie, who are your different circles? When we think about community, friends, family, coworkers, mentors, who are those people and what make them so important to you?
Yeah. So, um, I have two sisters, and then I have a really good friend who's kind of a sister by choice. So I have those are my friends and family. Um, Coworkers. So I have a corporate job, and I've kind of been moving jobs a little bit, so I don't have a deep connection with coworkers. But I will say I do have there's a 501(c)(3) that I volunteer with slash work with. And I've been doing that since I was 16 years old. So many decades. I won't say exactly how many. And they're also very supportive. And I've also been so blessed to have a number of mentors over the years. And then finally, when it comes to my entrepreneurial journey, I've found a couple of really great circles of people that support me, mostly the Free Mama Network, led by Lauren Golden.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, Katie, how about you? When you think about your community, family, friends, coworkers, mentors, who are your different circles and what makes them so important to you?
So I have my husband. He's been a huge support to me, really supportive in my journey throughout, our many years together. And my parents and my in-laws have all been super supportive and helping me kind of lift me up when I needed and take help with childcare when needed and make life easier when possible. And I have a couple really close friends who I can also lean on when I need. And it's just, it's nice to have people who know me so well, and I can go to and be completely authentic and vulnerable, and they will give me whatever support I need. And that's really important. And I'm also really building my business network and just fellow female entrepreneurs, getting to know them. They get to know me and have that support on like the business side and someone you could go to and be like, oh, this is really hard. And they totally get it. And I think that's been really important to hear that I'm not alone because it can be a very lonely journey when you're starting your own business.
Yeah. And I realized I didn't say what makes them so important. And I
Mm,
totally want to emphasize what you said is with these people, I can be myself because sometimes I feel like I'm socially awkward sometimes, and I don't always read other people's cues very well. And so when I'm out in public, I'm always constantly watchful, like, okay, what is this person saying? Am I doing the right social interactions? And then when there are people who are friends and family, and it's my circle, I can just be myself and I can be awkward and I know I'm just comfortable and I'm not worried. And it is
yeah.
important to have those people. And you can ask them questions. Even like sometimes I'll be bouncing off ideas about my business to even my sisters, and they're not my audience, they don't care, but they can see the underlying part and they can say, but what about, or why are you doing that? Or I can just like use them as a sounding board and I can be completely comfortable.
That's so important.
Yeah. So why don't I ask you, as women, we're often great at supporting others, but not always at letting others support us. How have you learned to allow support, and what difference has that made in your life? Can you imagine the last few years without some of these key supports? And as a health coach, I know you have a really great story.
Yes, I was like, oh, this really drives, like hits home for me because I am like a type A perfectionist. I'm a, firstborn daughter. I want to do it all myself. I don't want support. I want to figure it out on my own. And I have learned the hard way
Mhm.
that that is not feasible. And the hardest lesson for me to learn that was during the pandemic. I was working healthcare professional front lines. It was really, really hard, and I hit this burnout wall, I call it, where I couldn't function anymore, and I would not have been able to get out of it without support. I couldn't heal myself. I was just so exhausted, so feeling like such a failure in all of my roles, and it was a big lesson for me to speak up and ask for help. And in that journey and helping heal myself, I learned how vital support is for myself and my family. And I think the last 4 years of trying to build my business while continuing to work in my healthcare career, I would not have been able to get where I am without support from my family, my friends. It was so vital, and it's now something that I'm learning to be, uh, to ask for it more often and not hold back asking, because you find the people do want to help, they do want to support you, and so not asking is not the greatest way to go about it. It's a lot better when you ask for the help.
Yeah.
How about for you, Allie?
Yeah. So, I am also a firstborn daughter, and I have always been, I can do it myself. You might say stubborn, I might say determined.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've always been super independent. Um, and so I have three kids. I have right now, my oldest is 15, and then I have 13-year-old twins and identical twins. And when they were born, so my oldest was 2 years and 2 weeks old. He was born July 25th, and then my twins were born in August, the beginning of August. And that first year, I had a 2-year-old and twin infants. And then I had a
Oh,
3-year-old and twin 1-year-olds. And I physically couldn't do it all. And I didn't want to allow people to help me. And I had to. It just was life. And so what I did was I learned how to prioritize what was important, and I also learned how to let go. So things like, are the dishes clean? Like if I look at a dish in the cabinet and is it clean, does it matter if the bowls are stacked this way or if they're stacked this way? Like, let go. Just let other people do it because it's like, oh no, but that's with this dishwasher, it really washes better. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, are they clean? And also, my mom helped me see about importance. So, for a number of years, like my house was super messy and dirty. But the important things are, do you have clean clothes to wear? And do you have clean dishes to eat from? And everything else is incidental. If your toilets are dirty or your floor has crumbs all over it or whatever, it's okay. And it was really hard for me to learn that. It took a lot of just trying to do it all and not being able to do it all. And eventually, it helped me also become better at breaking tasks down into smaller chunks and then prioritizing those chunks. And then, for example, it used to be like, oh, I'm going to clean the bathroom and I'm just going to clean the entire bathroom. And then after kids, it was, okay, I'm washing my hands. I'm going to just take a sponge and wipe out the sink. Great. Or I'm about to hop in the shower while I'm letting the water run to warm up. I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to just like wipe down the tub. And so it's like 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there. And that's how I learned to survive. But yeah, it carried over into allowing other people to help me and also prioritizing what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, and letting go of control of how other people do things.
Yes, I totally agree with everything you said. That like release of control is so important, and like you said, the prioritization piece of it is so important. Especially like when we're juggling so many things, like you can't do all of it perfect. You can't do all of it the way you used to. And so how can you let some of those things go and just focus on like the most important aspects?
Mhm. Or even hire people. As a
Yeah,
baby gift, a friend bought me housekeeping services for like 3 or 4 months. And at first I
that's
was like, no,
amazing.
I have to like if the thought running through my head is if other people clean my house, I'm a failure because I can't take care of my own house. And luckily, I had some great counseling that helps me get over my self-talk. But that's another story. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Allie, sometimes our community reflects back to us who we're becoming. What have the people closest to you taught you about yourself? Are you surprised by who knows you best, or what version of you comes out of your different communities? And what are you learning about yourself in your different circles?
Hmm. So I can't think of any one specific thing that people close to me have taught me about myself. I will say that a lot of the people who have taught me lessons about myself did it by asking questions. They didn't tell me things, they asked me questions that made me go, huh. And then I thought about it. And I think that that's one of the best gifts of all is to have people who just explore things with you. Um, I will say, and this is cliche, a lot of people say this, but it is true, is having a business is one of the best forms of self um, not self-identity or self-expression, like self-investigation is not quite the right word. I'm blanking on it right now, but it's like the journey of self-discovery. That's what I'm thinking of. Having a business, even if you don't actually like have a business, but the process of having a business or attempting to start a business is one of the best journeys of self-discovery because you uncover a lot of self-talk that you tell yourself about your capabilities. So, we've already talked, both of us, about perfectionism. The last question was about being able to let go of um, like control, and then also things about money. There's so many things that I'm learning for myself in my different communities. And the last thing that I'll say about this question is um, one of the things that I really appreciate about, for me, it's the free mama community. It's not like it's necessarily special, but something just clicked about me. I don't know anybody in real life who makes a living online. And so to have this dream of being able to have my own online business, it just seems kind of like a fiction book that I might read. And so having this group of women that I've really connected with, and I can see their journeys and they can see mine. And I've been with them for almost 7 years now. And just watching other people go through journeys. And some people pull ahead, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I was there. But also, like, it's not a competition. Same thing I tell people when they're like, oh, you have twins. And I can see, like, this is a mom who's struggling with her one child. And she's like, I'm having all these struggles with my one child. And here's Allie with three children. I'm like, it's not a competition. One child is hard, three children are hard. And we're all at different stages. But it's really great because I can see these other women and I can see the ups and downs in their lives. And it just makes it real to me. And it makes it real that being an entrepreneur in an online space is something that people can do. It's not just a fiction book. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
I think,
so
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was
You
going to
think?
say, for me, I think it's helping to kind of reframe what I feel are failures of
Mhm.
like, no, actually, look at how much you've learned and look how much you've grown. And the people around me are helping me kind of see that growth.
Mhm.
Whenever I get down on myself, my husband is really good at doing this for me. He'll just be like, think about all your friends around you. Are they starting a business? Are they going and talking to all these people and are they putting themselves out there? No, like what you're doing is hard and it's not something everybody does. And so you are growing in a very different way than those around you. You can't compare yourself to them in that way. Um, and then I think also, like you said, having other people in your life who are building businesses and you can see your growth and the changes that they're having and you know they can give you that feedback of like, oh wow, I'm so impressed with that Instagram post you put up, or I love that program you did, where I feel like, oh, I just like threw that together, it was terrible. It's like, oh no, that's not what other people are seeing. They're like impressed by it, and it's like, oh yeah, just putting myself out there is hard. And that, you know, not judging myself for all of the little bits of it.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought of it, but it's so true. And it reminds me, okay, just a quick story, and I'll see if I can find the video. Maybe we can get Mia to add it like in the show notes or something. So I saw this video where there's a forensic sketch artist. And so
Mm.
this forensic sketch artist, I think it was the artist was a man. And so he has his back, and they have two women. And so the first woman comes in and she describes herself to the artist and he makes a sketch of her. And then the woman comes in, she describes herself, he makes a sketch of her. Then then the two women meet and they talk with each other. They have like a 10-minute conversation. And then um, they bring the first woman back and they ask the first woman to describe the second woman. She leaves. They bring the second woman back and ask her to describe the first woman. And all the time, this sketch artist is like, he never sees either woman. And so at the end, each woman has two portraits, the portrait of how she describes herself and the portrait of how the other woman described her. And
Mm.
it's so amazing because we are so hard on ourselves and we're so critical of ourselves. And you can see it in the portraits. And like the portrait of the person being described by the other person is a much more positive portrait. And so what that when you were talking about community reflecting back onto yourself and supporting yourself, it's so true because we might release a post or release a video or release even like a sales page and we're like, oh my gosh, this is so awful, and we're picking it apart, and other people are like, this looks really good, I don't know what you're talking about. And
Exactly.
yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I think my turn. Reciprocity. You give so much to your family, your work, and your dreams. How do you also show up for your community? And what does giving back look like for you in everyday ways?
Yeah, so I spend a lot of time, trying to like pump up my other, fellow female business owners in my community, whether that's like commenting on their posts or sharing what, is going on in their businesses or, just reaching out to them and just saying, hey, how can we collaborate? How can I help you? And that has been really amazing. I also, love to give back to the community, like our local food pantry.
Mhm.
And, anytime I can like help somebody, a mom, give them resources, whatever to help their lives be easier, I'm always looking for ways to do that as well. How about for you, Allie?
Yeah, I I'm going to say something that's a little controversial is I have a habit of giving to myself to the point where I'm not taking care of myself. And something that like okay, I'll just a little bit of a preface. So one of the things that I've done in my life is I was in the Navy. And while I was on my ship, I had extreme lack of sleep and irregular sleep. And because of the lack of sleep and irregular sleep, my brain didn't process out chemicals and I developed severe clinical depression. And just to finish up the story really quick, I went on medication, I got out of the Navy, I got regular sleep, and once I got regular sleep, my brain chemicals rebalanced and I was able to go off medication. And for me, it's like, if you're taking insulin, there should be no shame about like, oh, my body doesn't take insulin. I have to take medicine. I'm a diabetic. Like, it's not necessarily something you can control. And so I have a lot of things to say about mental health. But one of the things that I notice about myself is that um, I will give to people, or before I would give to people before I would give to myself. And it was a way, yeah, there's some interesting things about that. But what I've learned is I have no problem giving to people. What I need to do is balance giving to people with taking care of myself so that I can be the best person to show up. And sometimes it means saying no so that I can prioritize the right yes. Because if I say yes to everything, I've also heard it be a peanut butter analogy. It's like you have this much peanut butter, and if you spread it on a half piece of bread, it's going to be nice and thick and chunky. But if you try to spread that same amount of peanut butter over 3 slices, you're going to be spread way too thin, and you're barely going to taste it at all. And so, again, it comes back to prioritizing because things are like my life is really intense. I've got a full-time job, I've got kids, I've got my business that I'm starting, and I have, the volunteer place that I do and like my family. I've got a lot of things, and I know a lot of people also have a lot of things. And so I would just say taking care of yourself is also giving back. You need to make sure you have sleep. You need to make sure you have food. You need to make sure um, you're taking care of yourself so that you can help take care of other people. And I'm sure as a health coach, you're like, yes.
Yes, Allie, I'm so glad you brought that up because I think that is an important aspect of being able to give back to your community and support everybody around you is you do have to take care of yourself and something that is so hard for us to learn how to do and how to balance
Mhm.
and not feel guilty about. I think especially as moms, like I work with so many moms and they all have this like guilt around doing things for themselves and saying no to the kids' birthday parties and all the school events and things. And I think what I have found is, I mean, I've kind of been forced to say no is to to be able to make my business work right now. But it's also I've released the guilt and I don't feel bad about saying no now because I think if I did say yes, I would just feel like a frantic, burnt out crazy person, and nobody needs that.
Yeah. Well, and something that I think is true about our modern day age compared to like our ancestors in the past is that there is so much going on. And like for me, I do have a lot of causes that I care about. I care about um, food. I care about food banks. I care about homelessness. I care about pets, like the Humane Society. Care about domestic violence. I care about seniors. I care about our environment. I care about all these things. But if I try to care about all the things, I'm not effective. And so, even though I care about all these things, I am more effective when I pick one. And in our communities, if we can just, if each one of us picks, one or maybe two, and we give to those causes, it doesn't mean that the other causes are less important. Um, but there's more people alive today than in the past. And so there's more hands to do the work. And so instead of trying to take it all on yourself and do all the things for all the causes all by yourself, because like, let's say small villages in the Middle Ages or even in, colonial America, or even, around the world, Africa, Asia, you've got your village or whatever. More people had to do more things because you had like maybe 20, 50, 100 people. But now we have billions of people and we're connected online. So, it's okay to say no to other things and focus on like your thing. Even if you care about all the things, focus on one thing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think no, I think that's beautiful, and it kind of ties right into the next question, which is
Yeah.
at the heart of it all, why do you believe community is necessary for women, especially everyday women, to thrive?
Um, so I believe that, so this is just, okay. Again, what I'm saying is I'm like, oh, should I say that or should I filter? So right now
No,
I'm
don't
filtering.
filter. Don't
Um,
filter.
so I read a really interesting book. Actually, it was a series of books. You might have heard of Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card.
Hmm.
And all three books in the series are just amazing. And there's some really interesting philosophical things that go on in there. And in the third book, there are things that he calls philotic threads. Philotic being Philotic. It comes from philos, which I I forget the Greek root, but I think it's like love or something. I want to look it up real quick. Um, just a second. I will look it up. Definition, philos. Um, oh, it's not saying. Okay. I'm not gonna spend too much time. But anyways, oh yeah, the Greek word philos means friend, loving, or fond of.
Mm.
And it's used in English words like philosophy and philanthropy. So philosophy is love of wisdom, philanthropy is love of humanity. And so these philotic threads connect us. And so one of the things that he was writing in his books is that when you do things like prayer, and this isn't like necessarily Christian, like you don't even have to be religious, but when you are doing things in service of other people, you are building those philotic threads, you are building that network between us. And when you get into some of the more new agey things about energy and the energy flow, is that these threads that we build become our network, become our web, and energy flows between and around, from, and to. And so if we were to completely cut ourselves off from all of this community, we wouldn't survive or thrive as well. My mom is dealing with Parkinson's, and she was showing me this article about people who are lonely, and don't have that connection to community. They don't do as well. They have worse symptoms, and their life expectancy is shorter. So, going back to the question, community is necessary for women. And I think there's something too about being feminine, and I will be inclusive of, trans people too. I think identity is not necessarily related to your body, but for most of us it is. But there is something about communities of women and communities of men, and men need men, women need women, but also men need women and women need men. Like we're all connected, but it's really important to just sorry, I'm really rambling. I have such deep thoughts, and to condense it into like 2 minutes is so hard. Um, I'll just say, let me just step back and say that we are connected, no matter how you, what you call it. I love the Orson Scott Card analogy of philotic threads. And whether you do new agey energy type stuff or you do spiritual, whether you're Muslim or Christian, like everyone has prayer. And then I think it's also, second, it's important to have a community around people who are like you. And also, it's important to take what you learn here and what you fill yourself up with, you fill your bucket up, and then go into people who are not like you and fill their buckets also. I don't know. There's so many layers to that, but I'm going to stop there.
There
Sorry.
are, and I mean, kind of piggybacking off of what you said, there's a
Yeah.
lot of research that shows that community helps us thrive
Hmm.
and helps lower mental health rates. And, like it can really help people survive and, be able to thrive in their environment. And so I think for women, especially in our modern world, we are inundated with like so many stressors and so much on our plate and so much input that to have that sense of community where you can go and talk about it and feel like you're not alone in what's going on is so important, and also helps to just kind of get you out of your own head and own, spiraling that can happen in on our, bad days. So it's so important. I think especially in this age of like social media, that you have to have that community where that you have that grounding and those people to kind of boost you up when you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I I agree. And like I said, I was debating like, should I filter this or not? Because I don't usually talk about my spiritual beliefs because for reasons, many reasons. But yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was really important to share about philotic threads and the need for the need for women to have a space, but also the need for men to have a space. Like we need to have our own spaces, but that doesn't mean that we need to wall ourselves off from each other. Like we need to have our own spaces and we need to have shared spaces. Like both are important. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
No, it's good.
I don't practice talking about that subject very much. I have a lot of rehearsal about, oh, what do you do? And like, what are your thoughts about this? And, my story about being a mom and my story about having depression, like those are all practiced stories, but stories about my personal beliefs are not practiced. So,
Well, thank you for sharing your stories, Allie.
yeah,
So tell the listeners where we can find you and if there's anything you want to offer them.
yes. Um, Although I feel like I've been going first a lot, but so my website is Technically Eclectic, TECHNICALLY, and then eclectic is ECLECTIC. And to be eclectic means that you like a little bit about a lot of things. And know a lot of us are multi-passionate. So multi-passionate is just another word for eclectic. um, and so if you go to my website, oh, and also I'll have to work with Mia to figure out how we're giving our offer. So, like I said, I'm a digital organizer and I help people organize their files online so they can find what they need when they need it. And I am very passionate about giving my system to the world. And right now, I'm in the midst of reworking my free offering. I had like a 30-page ebook and then I had like a one pager, and I'm going to combine the two. I want to give people enough information that they can do it themselves. But just like I am perfectly capable of cooking dinner, I still go to restaurants. My philosophy is I want to empower everyone in the world to organize their files. But I still believe people are going to come to me and hire me to help them organize their files because it's for the same reason I go to a restaurant and I ask people to cook for me, even though I can cook for myself. So, and how about you, Katie? Where can we find you and what would you like to offer the listeners?
Yeah, so my business is Katie Cooper Wellness, and you can find me at katiecooperwellness.com and the same on social media. That's my handle. And I'm offering the listeners a 5-day stress reset. So my passion in life is helping working moms overcome the stress and overwhelm that we can all feel so that they can regain energy and passion for life. And so I have a great 5-day reset that is super easy, 10 to 15 minutes a day. And by day 5, you feel so much better. So that is what I hope you all will take advantage of.
Yeah, and I haven't done it because I'm just now learning about it, but I look forward to it. Um, I was watching some of your videos and I thought it was so exciting how there was a mom that you helped her simplify her morning routine with her kids and getting her kids out the door. And so I'm just like, oh, that's so amazing. We all need this.
Oh, thank you, Allie.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for you.
Yes, and you too. And
Yeah.
thank you all for listening. And it's such a powerful reminder that we're not meant to do life alone. Every everyday woman is held up, seen, and made stronger by the ordinary, extraordinary people around her. For everyday women listening, you may take this as an invitation to look at your own circle with gratitude and to ask yourself, how can I let myself be supported a little more? How can I support others in small, everyday ways? Because at the end of the day, community is where our strengths multiply, and together we are unstoppable. Thank you, Allie, so much for sharing about your journey and your beliefs around community. It's been a great time speaking
Thank you,
with you.
Katie, and you as well. And yes, together we are unstoppable.
Beautiful.